One word to sum up 2021 is change for me because I've experienced new life. I've experienced maybe death, like my grandmother's death. So it's been changing ever since like 2020. It's been a huge roller coaster and I'm just looking forward to more change.
My word for this year, I think, is resilience. You know, if you think about last year, COVID is here, we're in the pandemic, and I think we're all sort of like ready to fight the pandemic. But this year, you know, with the prolonged lockdowns, there's a different feeling or a sense around it, right? I think in the beginning it's like, okay, we're gonna fight the pandemic, but after a year of doing it, you just feel we're still in lockdown again. And I think sometimes I think of it like, okay, it's like a marathon. You know, when you're running at the beginning, you've got a lot of energy, but after time, your energy goes down. And if you have the stamina, you can really persist and make it through the marathon. And I think that that's what we've seen really with our students, with our teachers. You know, I think online learning has been so difficult for so many. And for many of us, Debbie, like you, like I've lost family members as well this year, and that's been really difficult. And I think that so many people as well have been affected in many ways, right? And I think that what has been so beautiful to see is the perseverance, is the resilience and the grit that, you know, we've seen from our students, from our teachers, and from Malaysians in general, right? Surviving through the lockdown, supporting one another, and figuring out how to pick ourselves up, even though it has been an even longer and more difficult journey this year in many ways.
For me, yeah, I guess mine is again similar to change. For me, surprises though. I think this year has been surprising. Sometimes you get the good ones like, and then sometimes you get the, So for me, I think these surprises, as much as, again, like there were the surprises that I wish I didn't have, like, school is closing suddenly, but we just open for like a day, and then there's a positive COVID case, and then you close the next day, and your plans all just go like, phew. So for me, I think these surprises taught me to be more accepting, I guess, like not be too like thrown off the grid once a change hit. And I think last time I felt very much like, it changed again, but I've made so much plans and everything, and that's all just gonna go away. And I used to be like so frustrated about it, but I think now I'm more accepting about all these like sudden surprises. And now when I see it, it's like, I saw you coming, I know you're there. And yeah, it doesn't affect my emotions so much. And it also makes me, I embrace all these new surprises more. I think if our class didn't have all this online learning, I probably didn't know many of you guys. I won't know many of you guys that well, because I think when we started online lesson, I started personal messaging a lot of you guys, hunting down homework. So yeah, I wouldn't have all these pleasant surprises that I would have never found out.
I would say disastrous because I feel like I've went through a lot of different kinds of emotions. I think that everything has turned into like an entire mess. That's why I would say it's disastrous. And the reason I would say that is because of how we were always like in and out of this pandemic, and how our studies were just messed up, and how I couldn't keep up. And one more thing is that I wasn't able to spend my teenage years properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So this year is just kind of really messed up. Yeah, and I hope that next year it will be better for everyone. Yeah, and I hope that things will go smoothly.
Okay, but for me, I sum up my feeling this year is unexpected feeling, because in terms of accepting good and bad things happen in my life, but somehow life must go on, and we must continue to work and fulfill our responsibility to carry out the best that we can.
if I were to summarize, not necessarily my feeling, but actually summarizing my feeling not only from myself, but so after interacting with so many people, I would say the word that come out to me is actually story. Just want to like quote one of our colleagues at For Malaysia. She's one of the directors. Just last week we had organization step back, and she was sharing her reflection after meeting everyone face to face, and she was telling that after so many months meeting everyone again, it felt so good. And when I look at each and everyone's eyes, I could see stories. And I think that was a very powerful quote, because we have experienced a lot of things in the past 2 years actually. And maybe it was just another story, but this time we have different kind of actually telling that stories to other people. And I would love to actually share those stories to more future generations to come, because everyone is going through this in a very different ways, but we came out strong. And yeah, that's my word, story. And thanks also for sharing your stories.